ॐ भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us now pray together. Don't pay heed to all that noise there, please. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, Thou abidest in all, Thou art all, Thou assumest all forms, Thou art the origin and goal of all, Thou art the self of all, Thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto Thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Let us meditate on the essence of everything. Let us think of all that we see, including our own personality, as animal crackers. Like one sees that there is a giraffe, there is a crocodile, there is a mouse, there is a deer, all different forms. But look at the substance. It is the same one reality. That very substance is appearing in various forms. Whatever form we may touch, pick, and put in the mouth, the same substance is being touched, picked, and swallowed. So also, let us feel the same one substance pervading all forms. Let us transcend the forms and see this substance. As I transcend the form, I am not an animal or a human being. I am not this body. I am not male or female. I am beyond gender. I am beyond age. I have no birth, no death. I am the timeless, immutable existence itself, the truth itself. Knowing and realizing this, there is peace everywhere. There is infinite bliss everywhere. This inner substance that pervades everything. Controls everything. Is the truth, the God. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Om. Asatu ma sadgamaya, tamasu ma jyotirgamaya, mrityurmam amritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, and from this limited mortal existence to the immortal, infinite existence, infinite life. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear friends, we are here to find the ways to illumine our lives and to actually experience the truth, not just a theoretical, hazy understanding, but to come face to face with the truth or God. The spiritual realization does not consist in having a lot of deep, difficult to understand theories. It is not the work of brain or intellect. It is the work that has to go deeper than that at the level of our actual experience. So, this idea is to be kept in mind during today's discussion as well. I am reminding it especially today because there will be certain aspects that will be taken up today may sound a bit theoretical and kind of logical discussions, but one has to go deeper. This is just an initial, like breaking the ground a little bit. But there is a deeper aspect, what is called sadhana or spiritual practice, to realize these things. Of course, many these days, not only these days, for ages there were a group of people always in society which would question the existence of God. And of course, with the commonplace idea that many people have and is also described in books, that there is the God who sits somewhere above the clouds and is governing this creation. A kind of a whimsical fellow grants boons to somebody and sends somebody to eternal damnation. Someone who believes in him goes to heaven to have lot of pleasurable things around, and someone who doesn't believe is sent to eternal damnation. That idea of God certainly is challenged by many, not just in the modern times, even earlier also. For thousands of years, this question has been raised, whether such a thing is, or it is just a figment of imagination, or worse, is it a tool provided to the priest to dominate over the other population? Because if you want to go to that God, you have to go through these priests, these self-appointed custodians of religion, managers of the doors of heaven and hell. And then, is this something as an instrument devised to cheat people? In fact, Marx has that kind of comment, that religion is the opium of people. It is sigh of the oppressed. It is a tool in the hands of the oppressors, religion, God, and it is the opium of people, so that people won't question anything. Somebody who takes opium, and so that makes one forget about things around and gets into an imaginary world. So religion and God, according to him, are some such things. And of course, there is substance to that argument, because there have been instances, and plenty of them, where religion has been used like that. There are many other arguments advanced by what is called atheists. And even in ancient India, there was a sect like that who would completely abandon this idea of God, would preach against it, that God or the scriptures, they are just the handiwork of cheats and scoundrels. They literally, in the Sanskrit words, are sarve vedasya kartaraha dhurta bhanda nishacharaha. That all those who compose these Vedas, the scriptures, who are they? They are the cunning con artists and the veritable demons that move at night around. So, it is not something that only in the modern times that these atheists are there. They were there in the ancient times as well. And while they certainly have an argument against a God that is an object sitting somewhere, but there is, if we go to the deeper ideas of God, which they say, well, we are not concerned with those. We want to just see what commonly is understood by the word God. It is. And if we refuse to go into the deeper aspects of things, it is not only about religion, about everything in terms, say, for example, science as well. It is who understands much about it, and we just take it on faith, just on belief that yes, some scientist says that Swami Vivekananda has mentioned this in many of his these lectures, that for many people they do not go deep even into science and just believe in what some scientist has said and then get the meanings according to their whims, according to their understanding. So, like somebody was telling that according to Einstein, we all are relatives because of the relativity theory, That is the thing that he understood from Einstein, that we all are related to each other. We are all relatives. So that becomes the understanding. But why people believe in science is because although we don't understand much of it, and even very respected, highly learned scientists also know only about their branch, their sub-branch, sub-branch of a branch, nothing beyond that. Yet, what creates the faith in science is that it gives us some practical conveniences to live our life by. I may not understand the slightest thing about electricity. It is, for some it could just be the name of a city, electricity. So it is. But I use these lights. I use many of these, appliances that run on electricity. So even though I don't understand, I don't know, I come to accept and believe it. That's about it. So with the same thing, God, when we can bring it at the level of our experience, then we can believe, we can accept, we will have a dynamic faith and need to realize God in our lives. There is this very nice book by a very well-known theologian, David Bentley Hart, that the experience of God, being, consciousness, bliss. He has taken these words, as he mentions in the book. It is the Vedantic or Hindu idea of God, Sat Chit Ananda, being, consciousness, bliss. That is that God that he speaks of, and he says that this understanding, actually it is in all religions, but very clearly in unambiguous terms mentioned in Vedanta, that God is the essence of everything, the truth in everything. And this word truth is, even the atheists have to agree that there is something that is truth. If one owns this idea truth, then their statements also will lose validity. So therefore there is this idea truth, and this truth is what is described in so many scriptures, different scriptures of various religions, as God. We specially say, let me quote from this book, a small aspect of it, a small part of it, that to speak of God properly, then, to use the word in a sense consonant with the teachings of Orthodox Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, Hinduism, Baha'i, a great deal of antique paganism, and so forth, is to speak of the one infinite source of all that is eternal, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, uncreated, uncaused, perfectly transcendent of all things, and for that very reason absolutely immanent to all things. And this is somewhat, a statement that is one has to ponder over to grasp it. I am not going much into the every word of it, but what it means, you can see that it is that being, as has been described, that omniscient, omnipresent, and yet transcendent over everything, and thus immanent in everything. Let us go back to the simple example that we had taken up in our meditation. The substance in these animal crackers, that the substance is certainly in all these animal crackers. In the world of animal crackers, it is omnipresent. It governs the behavior of those animal crackers, in the sense when the substance becomes rotten, stale, then those animal crackers also become like that. And it is versatile, means that same substance can be used to make some other things as well beyond animal crackers. It is transcendent over them. An important idea that you have to transcend a particular form. If one remains at a baby stage, and the babies would look at the forms and think those forms to be real, and would cry that I want to eat crocodile only. Now if you say, okay, it is the crocodile is same as a rabbit, the baby won't accept that. So the baby will get more agitated and start crying loudly that it is, don't fool me, you are just kidding, that it is, you are fooling me. How can a crocodile be same as a rabbit? Because as baby, the little one is not able to transcend the form, and therefore is not able to see this substance. As the baby grows up a little bit, the baby sees that they are all same. It is, but same with us as well. We also refuse to transcend the form, and therefore are not able to feel the immanence of that reality, that truth, the same truth. Just transcend the form. You can easily see that the same truth is in each of us here, outside. It is, as the Upanishad, for the specific purpose of imprinting it on our practical life, says that it is the same reality that is in you as eater and something else as eaten. Both are same reality. The same reality is there in this person as well as, say, a mosquito that is sitting on my skin and then doing its job, howsoever unpleasant it may be to me. But then both of them, they are the forms, and the same one reality pervades them. This is the truth. This is the being. And this is thus what is described as God. St. Paul mentions this in Acts, that it is in 1728 that all things, they are having existence, their being, they move in that truth, that it is that all things live and move and have their being in that divine principle. So this is where we come face to face with God that can be felt. This process of transcendence is applied in all branches of knowledge. What is a law? Transcendence. You see something happening, similar something has happened, many such things have happened, and then you transcend that particular of that incidence and you come to a law. For example, law of gravitation, the very common example, that it is not just the apple fell down, not just that apple, not only apples, not only all fruits, anything that is just hurled up or is somewhere up from the earth, it will be dragged and will fall on the earth. Now this is, the law has come, and this law is called knowledge. That is the sign. How did we get the laws? By transcending the particulars of that fact that was noticed. So this is how we see this all-pervading reality. And the religion mentions, all religions, I am giving the example here of some passages from Upanishads, that the Taittiriya Upanishad describes this, that God or Brahman, the word, Sanskrit word, which indicates this idea of God by using the word Brahman, that Brahman all-pervading. My predecessor Swami, revered Swami Sarvagatananda, he used to say God is the ground of dwelling of everything. It is here in God we live, move and have our being. So its second canto begins with this assertion that Brahma vidapnoti param, this knower of Brahman attains the highest. It is the knowing, of course, means not just intellectual idea, but realization. Brahma vidapnoti param, knowing that God, Brahman. The etymology of this word Brahman is very interesting. It means that which has spread all over. It has pervaded everything. That is Brahman. So, this Brahman, all pervading. And when one realizes it, you reach the acme of your achievements. It is, you get everything. Next line in this says, Soshnute kaman sarvan. All the desires of this person get completely fulfilled. Nothing is left out. So, all our desires will get fulfilled when we realize this Brahman. And how is this Brahman defined here? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That it is the truth, Satyam. But not just the relative truth, but truth supreme, infinite, Anantams. It is, and the knowledge infinite. Ananta means infinite. So the word Ananta means infinite can be separately, independently considered, or even as the adjective of the other two, that it is infinite existence, the truth supreme, and the knowledge ultimate, infinite. So this is Brahman, and this is to be experienced, realized. It is shown here that everything that one sees, that it is actually Brahman, and we have to go deep in awareness for that. So it says, Yo ved nihitam guhayam parame vyoman. A very beautiful description. It is as one goes in the depth of our consciousness, then we see this. It involves what is called a spiritual practice, a general term that is sometimes used very glibly without properly grasping it. But what it signifies is this, that one has to investigate that when I become aware of anything, then what I am becoming actually aware of. What is this awareness or consciousness? It is called in Vedanta the cave of consciousness. That it is like a cave, because just as cave is dark, so there is darkness in the understanding of people about it. What is consciousness? We actually do not have much grasp about it. So go deep into it. As you go deep into it, you will start. It is a gradual unfoldment of this knowledge, like a flower. There is the bud, and then that bud gradually opens up, unfolds. So that is the unfoldment of our spiritual being. And as it happens, the experience of this divine truth will start coming in us. It is when you think of God in this manner as the truth, then even the atheists, they accept it. It is a matter of experience also. It is the experience is the ultimate test. Can we experience this all-pervading divine? Yes, of course. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that when you look up in the skies, and right now like it is the dazzling sunlight out, look up, do you see any stars? You won't see any stars now. Does it mean that there are no stars? There are, but because the other light is so overpowering that you are not able to see that. It is, let the sun set, and then you will be able to see. Those who want to gaze at stars, therefore, they go to a place where there is no street lights, no other illumination. They go to a beach where there are no lights. So similarly, one has to go where our other desires, the desires for other objects of senses is subdued. And in that state, one will be able to appreciate this deep layer of consciousness and can experience it. It can be experienced. Swami Vivekananda, quoting Sri Ramakrishna, says that yes, God can be experienced. It's his own tremendous experience. When he once asked Sri Ramakrishna, he was a college-going boy, not exactly atheist, but has doubts as to how the God is. Has anybody seen God? Because as I mentioned, experience is the ultimate test. So it is, has anybody seen God? And he had been asking this question to many people who would give discourses about God, elucidate scriptures and so forth. Some well-known figures he had visited, and then he could not get any clear answer. So after going to Sri Ramakrishna, he asked this question to him too after a few visits. You can read about it in his beautiful book, a combination of two lectures, My Master, Vivekananda's. That is a small book. It is My Master. He says, I approached him, asked him that, well, have you seen God? The question, again, one has to see beyond just the words, that it is not a question of some idle inquirer, but somebody who wants to see God is asking. that yes, I too want to see God. Have you seen God? So that I will get an unambiguous answer. And Sri Ramakrishna gives a very clear, unambiguous answer. Yes. No, yes, maybe not like that. Yes. Not only that, next step. I see God as I see you, only much more clearly. And that was a very big statement. When we see things around, we see it with some screening. Our sense organs, they are the mediators. Our mind, sense organs, everything gets kind of filtered through them. And therefore, our vision of everything is not very clear. It is hazy. Had it not been so, we would have seen God there. But our vision becomes hazy because our sensory organs, our mind, they all interfere. They cause such interference that we do not see. Like one day I was having dark glasses as I was driving. When I started, it was bright light. So they were on my eyes. And then gradually it became evening, the light faded. And yet, during this driving, I had forgotten that I have these dark glasses on my eyes. And then was thinking why it looks so dim. It is, I am not even able to see this odometer. Probably, something wrong with my eyes. I will have to go to the eye doctor soon. Oh, and then it dawned upon me. And things became clear. So, if we can go beyond our these sense organs and mind, this instrument, and if when we go beyond this instrumentality, we will be able to see clearly. That is how one sees God very clearly. A great Christian mystic, Meister Eckhart, mentions that when asked, can we see God? Yes, but not with these eyes. You cannot see God with these eyes, but you have to use those eyes with which God sees you. Very beautiful statement. The eyes with which God is seeing you, with those eyes you will be able to see God. So, this is how one sees God there. And then, when you see that, Sri Ramakrishna further said, if you want to see God, if you do what I tell you to do, you will also be able to see God. See how clear this statement is. Everyone who wants to see and is ready to take the steps will be able to see that. If you have a microscope, somebody has microscope and then can see when that person looks at yogurt, will be able to see small crawling worms in it. Now, can everybody see? Well, everybody, if you use that particular means, then you will also be able to see. It is not somebody's monopoly. Seeing God is nobody's monopoly. Everyone has this possibility in them. That is what Vedanta asserts, that yes, everybody has this possibility. It is not that only a chosen few will get there. not only some old time people, those that prophets or somebody they saw, and we have to now just lead the life with belief. No, each of us has that access to that experience, provided we take it. It is, if somebody says, no, I don't want to use this microscope, then, well, you cannot see those little worms. They are too small for your eyes, dear. But they do exist. You can verify for yourself. So God is. And we all can see that as the truth in everything, pervading everything. It is, therefore, in Mundak Upanishad, it is said that God is truth, and thus following the path of truth, one realizes God. God is truth. Now each of us has a very clear, may not be always very correct, but idea of truth. A very fundamental idea that we have right from our birth, so to say, is the truth. We understand a true statement and a false statement, truth and not truth, a very primary idea that is there. It is not put in by somebody, it is there. On the basis of that, we judge everything. So, that truth, follow that. It is, so it says, Mundak Upanishad, in its third chapter and fifth verse, mentions that this self, the God, as the indwelling reality of everything, is called self, Atma. It is that Satyena labhyas tapasa yesha atma. So, it is by following the truth, one realizes, labhya means realizes this self. Some question gets asked, if that is the self of everyone, then what is the need to do spiritual practice? How can one get the self if we are self ourselves? We can get something else, How can I get myself? In Taittiriya Upanishad commentary, Shankaracharya clarifies that, well, what it means is experiencing it and not experiencing it. It is there, but if you don't experience it, then do something so that you can experience it. It is like that. The deception happens. Somebody keeps on looking for the reading glasses, took out somewhere, thought that I have kept it somewhere, and is not finding it. Where are they gone? And somebody points it, well, you have just pushed them on your forehead. You have it all the time, but somebody has to point it out to you. You have to get them, find them. So this is how you see that one sees it, realizes it. That is how it is told in the next verse of the same Upanishad, that therefore truth alone triumphs. Satyameva jayati nanritam satyena pantha vitato devayanaha. That by following the path of truth, truth alone triumphs. Because that is, that which is not true is mere appearance, it goes away. So, and by following that, you will be moving on the path that is illumined. Devayana means it will bring more and more illumination in your life. And this is the path that has been actually followed by all great sages to realize this final truth. And you reach the ultimate goal by doing that. It is told that how this God is to be worshipped. It is this God is to be worshipped, the all-pervading God. How? Yatha pravrittir bhutanam. I am quoting a verse from the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that whereby all beings are coming up and guided according to their impressions, that and by which everything is pervaded. Yena sarvam idam tatam swakarmana tam abhyarcha. Worship that all-pervading being by your actions. Whatever actions we perform, that can be converted into worship. You don't have to take up a particular action as such. It is that has to be all that we do. We have to do it as worship. Yesterday I was talking to one devotee, and she said, how can somebody realize God while doing all this very difficult, complicated works? The mind gets all drawn towards that, one forgets God. No, that work. So the impulse is then, so let me give up the work. Because work is seen as the source of all problems, isn't it, Teresa? No, good. Yeah, thank you. That it is not source of problems, but it is the way to worship. That one has to see that as worship. Every single action has the same capacity to become worship. As much as, say, offering flower or offering lamp and such things, they are worship. But equally, whatever somebody is teaching in a university, that teaching becomes worship. Somebody doing some account work, that is worship. We have to change the attitude, that's all. Nothing else. How offering a flower at the altar becomes worship? Because of the attitude. And with the same attitude, any other work that we are doing does become worship. That is how we can worship this God who is the truth, pervaded in everything. And this path of truth, as we follow, will lead us to the ultimate experience of God. And because of that experience, our life will be completely fulfilled. We will be reaching the ultimate goal of life. There will be nothing left to be achieved. So this is how, by looking upon God as the truth, we will be able to do worship every single minute. And we will have no doubt about the existence of God, because God is the truth. No arguments can erase this God, the God that is truth, the God that is beyond clouds, matter of belief. Who can find which number of cloud you have to go to, and well, you will not be able to really find it. But this God is right amongst everything, in the midst of interpenetrating each and everything. And that God cannot be refuted, and that God is an actuality. We can realize it by each of our action done as a worship. That is how what is called as sometimes yoga of action or karma yoga. So let us hope that we get this clear and do all our actions as the worship to this all-pervading divine being. Let us meditate on this idea for about 30 seconds, and then if you have any questions, you can give voice to those. Any questions? Is there any question up there?
Yeah, Maharaj, one question.
Okay.
From Michael Doyle. Swami.
Michael?
Doyle.
Okay.
Swami, there seems to be an irrational fear of entirely releasing the concept of self. Will this fear fade in time?
Please repeat, dear. I am not able to get it.
Swami, there seems to be an irrational fear of entirely releasing the concept of self.
Entirely?
Releasing?
Yes. The concept of self.
Yeah. Will this fear fade in time?
Well, when you do something, the fear fades. It is initially there is the fear of doing something. Because we have never done it before, and so there comes the fear. But when we keep on practicing, there the fear goes away. There are many beautiful discussions in Upanishads. Let alone that matter of Upanishads. There was the incident which Sri Ramakrishna and Narendranath, future Vivekananda, that he wanted to see God, and so one day Sri Ramakrishna touches him to in a way impart that awareness, and Narendra got scared. He screamed, "Oh, what are you doing to me? I have my parents." Sri Ramakrishna smiled and said, okay, you have your parents, okay. But then that very Narendranath, gradually as he did the spiritual practice, he started wanting it. Now there is no fear. Because of the first sudden onslaught, there was fear, then gradually the fear vanishes. So, same thing with any endeavor. When you try to do it first, there is the fear. When you repeatedly do it, the familiarity kills the fear. Yes, Charlie, you have a question?
I've been thinking that I don't have enough trust, but then I realize I have too much trust, because I trust anyone who says anything. And therefore I doubt each thing because I trust everyone at the same time.
Okay, well, it is, you have to examine. This is a problem that you have to trust people who have reached that stage. Therefore, trust the words of the sages. Every Tom, Dick and Harry out of ignorance is saying something and sends you a message on your phone. Just now something came. So not that it is all to be taken seriously. The words of a person are only as much valuable as is the life of that person. That is important something. that what is the awareness and the status of that person. It is, has that person any real deep knowledge of that? If otherwise, what is the idea in accepting that person's version? You won't accept my statements about, say, football and all that. I have not much idea about it. So, even if I make a statement, you will not agree to it. It is so also you have to listen to these sages who have actually experienced this truth, and thereby their life has become illumined. That is to be accepted. The others, they are themselves groping in dark. What the Kathopanishad describes it, andhe naiva niyamana yathandha, the blinds being carried by other blinds, So it is, and thus both are likely to fall in a ditch. So that is what happens. Therefore, the best thing, as described by many sages, including Sri Ramakrishna, says in that respect, that listen to everybody, but hold on fast to your path. Whatever you received from scriptures and Guru, hold on to that. Listen, otherwise hear everybody. Do not need to take that. Whatever is useful you may take, that's all. In that matter you can listen. If you are, say, going to a mall, and if you don't know how to go, you ask somebody, where is the mall? And that person says, oh, that's there. Because that person has gone there, so you can believe that person for that. But just because you believe that person about where the mall is, you don't have to accept the word of that person as to how to realize God. So, okay then. So, let me tell you, next Sunday, that is the last Sunday of September, the topic of discussion is law and morality. That Sunday in the morning, we will have a special service at the church in Annisquam, the North Shore, the Gloucester County, there in Massachusetts. That morning service will be in a joint service of the Annisquam Village Church and Vedanta Society of Providence, in commemoration of the visit of Swami Vivekananda, visit and lecture of Swami Vivekananda there. So, there will be lot of people, so the attendance is limited because the church people from Annisquam, they will be there. And then if somebody from here wants to go, already some of you have registered. The others who want to come, I request them to send an email to providence@rkmm.org to register for that, attending that event. So, thank you. Let us conclude with the closing prayers, and then there will be the Arati. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahura Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.
breaker of all our worldly bondage and adored by all. We adore you too. Sinless Lord, assuming human form. Sinless Lord, assuming human form. Transcendent yet filled with love. You free us from the stain of sin and ornament our world. Consciousness is a form. Your eyes always purified by knowledge. Your eyes always purified by knowledge. Looking at them, illusion is gone. Ocean of shining love and feeling are inebriated in your infinite love. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Come on boat to cross this world. Revealed to us as God incarnate and the Lord of all things, helping us join with you. Your mind's always set in the divine light. Your mind's always set in the divine light. This we can see through your grace. Destroyer of worldly sorrow and compassion soul. Infinite is a word. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance, saving us from darkness and fear. Renouncer of all lust and lucre, therefore you were always spurning sensual life. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Grant to us pure love for you. You're fearless and you're free from doubting, with your mind very firmly resolved. Causeless refuge of your devotees. Causeless refuge of your devotees. Renouncing caste and birth. Our treasure is your holy feet, which take us very soon across this puddle of life. You give love and even sight treasure is your holy feet which take us very soon across this puddle of life. You give love and even-sightedness. You give love and even-sightedness to remove our anguish here. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Darkness is destroyed by your light. Oh Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Darkness is destroyed by your light. Oh Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Langa Ranga Bhanga, these are all the sounds of Mridanga. Langa Ranga Bhanga, these are all the sounds of Mridanga. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Jaya Jaya for your worship divine. Hara Hara for your worship divine. Shiva Shiva for your worship divine. Breaker of all our worldly bondage and adored by all, we adore you too. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji ki Jai. Auspicious and blessed graciousness sublime, all noble ends you give to us, granting us refuge, all sing Gauri, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Creation, preservation, dissolution are your powers, eternal one. Nature's real basis, nature's nature's essence. O Mother Divine, our love to you. We come seeking refuge from anguish. Be our Savior through your deep concern. All our suffering remove, Goddess. O Mother Divine, our love to you. Victory, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Jai Shri Ram Krishna Dev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Sarda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Swami Vivekananda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Buddha Dev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Jesus Christ Ki Jai.